Hello everyone. Proposed changes for age 113 are out. I'm gonna speak into the mic here. Hopefully people can hear me. Test I was a little quiet, so I gotta leave to work in less than an hour, but I think we can get through this. Don't you? I do. Let's do it. We've got a schedule already. That looks like slightly less than 70 days, is my guess. So that's a slightly shorter age. Also, the age ends in 2 days. So that's a whole week of... That's more than a week of downtime. So, I don't know what's happening. Maybe they're fixing servers or some shit, but that's interesting. Age of Merry Mayhem. The bells are ringing. The raises are singing. Preamble. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Festive week boost. So, Christmas Eve to New Year's Day, there'll be daily modifiers. So... If it's just income BE production, that won't change things much, but, you know, make sure that week you're saving and holding out for that training cost, I guess. And we'll see other things. That's kind of cute. I think it'd be more fun if it was, like, changing tickly rather than daily, but we'll see how it works. Unique abilities, cooldown reduced to 23 hours. I like that. That's something I've actually suggested myself, so good to see. Books from Amnesia instantly returned. I like that as well. I've worn a lot of sages this age, and it's really annoying. I've also been Amnesia'd a fair bit because I was running humans, so both of those are nice to see. End of age freeze. That's good quality of life. Raise bounce. Kills back to normal values. I'm not sure what normal values mean in this context. I believe that you used to take 60% more losses, but I didn't think the kills were reduced. So I'm not 100% sure where we're at there. If it's going back to, quote, normal values, then you would expect base losses for yourself and 80% kills. That's what it used to be like. Enhanced Conquest, kills increased by 5%. I don't know if that's 5% raw or not. Also, Enhanced Conquest just means you can conquest out of range, is my understanding. I don't know why that would have kills attached to it, so that's just weird to me. Aggressive Force Fire incurs a penalty of Honor and Science. That's interesting. We'll see how that goes. I don't think that matters too much, but we'll see. Neutral band widened to parity. This is a really bad change. Also, it shouldn't be land gains. It should just be gains, because presumably land gains and science gains follow the same curve. But hitting upward is already incredibly beneficial compared to hitting downward. There's no reason to buff that. Right now, hitting a province that's 85% is more detrimental than hitting a province that's 140%. Like, get out of fucktown with that. That's retarded. So I think that's completely unreasonable and not helpful. Autofill doesn't bypass Kingdom Wall. That's good. All 1-tick abilities are now 2 ticks. I think that's fine. I would rather just it be 60 minutes, but that's a fine compromise. Multi-attack protection reduces damage taken from thievery and magic ops. I don't like this at all, but that needs to be explained more. Is it reducing it to the same effect as other things? Does that mean that you're taking minus 90% damage, opping an extreme thing? They also then need to figure out or standardize which ops and spells give MAP, because some do and some don't, and the ones that do and the amount that do isn't really sensible. So They need to figure that out. That's just no good. Otherwise, it's a lot of quality of life stuff. Nothing really interesting there for mechanics. And let's get to races. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Just making sure nobody is da 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 watching me. Okay, Avian, we don't have Last Age loading in, so I'll just do it from memory. Avians are nerfed on birth rates. I believe they had greater protection, so another nerf, a nerf to casualties, a nerf to their O-spec. Nerf to their ability with minus 50% losses instead of no losses. I actually don't agree with the honor gains equals 0 part of Avian. I think that's lame. I think it should be full honor, or at least, scaling honor. Avians are okay last age. I only ward Merciless who had Avians. They seemed strong. I think they were fine. I don't know if they're overpowered. So if I see, sort of age-wide nerfs, then this makes sense. But they're relatively minor. Birth rate isn't huge. 1-0 spec isn't huge. They still have the same elite. 5% casualties, yada, yada, yada. Avian's mostly unchanged. Slight nerf. Say Avian was pretty strong last age, so it's going to be still pretty strong with only minor nerfs. Dark Elf. I believe this is a buff. I believe it used to be only 1 tick, so that's good quality of life for them. Still have these look identical? Question mark. I wasn't. Oh no, they lost their base 50% rune cost, so that's a modest nerf. I wasn't a huge fan of Dark Elf last age, but a lot of people ran them and were happy with them, so I think Dark Elf is fine. It's doable in a pure role, but I think you do want to slip in some elites there. That's good. They fit certain playstyles a lot better than others. They just have a lot of stacking mods. You've got OME, you've got WPA, TPA, damage. What's not to love? Thieves with spec credits is a pretty nice economic bonus as well. Not just when you're actively hitting, but just in End of War Ceasefire, that's worth a lot of gold. Dwarf! I have no idea what Dwarf looked like last age, but it looks similar. These numbers look the same. Dwarf's fine. There was almost no dwarves this age. I think they got these buffs, question mark? And those are modest buffs. Minus damage isn't something I think you can stack and use to mitigate that well, but it's really not that strong in my opinion. But, every little bit helps, so to speak. I think they're a little net worth heavy for the actual offense and defense they put out, but I think Dwarf really relies on using that building efficiency effectively, and that's something that takes a little bit more of a personal touch. So it's a lot of extra effort to make things work, and they got some real penalties here as well. Minus sabotage damage is kind of limiting. You can get away being a duration caster, but what's the point of BE and being tanky if your thieves suck? I don't know. So they're fine. I think they're a little behind the curve still. Elf, still insane. I didn't run Elf this age, but I regret it, so what do you know? Still insane military numbers, so much free defense. Thieves' Dens isn't that big of a deal, because easy night strikes are easy. I think all this is the change. I think they lost some spells. I think they used to have Wrath and Mist or whatever, but overall, Elf's effectively unchanged, very strong. High defense, high mana, high WPA, free runes. They're just a monster in the early and mid game. And then in the late game, they tend to have enough honor to scale. and they're also strong in the late game as well. It's just that they come online so fast and gain so much honor in the early game relative to others. So we'll see. Fairy. Bonuses are unchanged. Unique's unchanged. It looks like the same spell list is unchanged. They lost 10 BE, but they no longer have that 35% rune cost penalty. I think that was pretty limiting. So I think that's actually a pretty big buff to Fairy. And like their only nerf is, what, Training Grounds? Nobody gives a crap. They also have Fool's Gold built in, which is a huge buff. Being able to have a Mystic with Fool's Gold is super overpowered. So, yeah, everything I see here says that Fairy got a pretty big buff. I think Fairy was probably worse than Halfling and Elf this age in retrospect. But 10 BE is a bit of a pain, but it's not that bad. It's the worst for rogues. Mystics and heretics can be fine with that. Maybe their elites got more expensive too? Hard to say. Halfling, small TPA nerf, unique ability nerf down 50% from 75%. And a nerf to being exposed on thieves. That's pretty significant. Because that means that exposed thieves is always working, even at bonus, or even at really low levels. So that's a pretty big hit to Halfling. I'd say casting Halflings are mostly unchanged, because you're not going to see that exposed thieves, but I think the power of a Halfling rogue is quite diminished. I think a Halfling hybrid or attacker is still quite strong, but again, you got to eat that exposed thieves. If you have enough Halfling hybrids, exposed thieves on everyone's expensive, so it's not bad. Not bad. We'll say not bad. I think they were a little strong, so I don't mind the penalty here, so. Humans look mostly unchanged. I don't understand for 2 ticks here, because it's an instant thing. It didn't used to last a tick, so I think that's just a typo. They took 1 more or a little bit of minus WPA. These numbers look the same. Human, I ran human this age, and they were dog shit until week 6 or 7, when the science started to kick in. And now, end of age, they feel quite strong, but still super vulnerable to amnesia. They still have, certain problems, but human was pretty damn strong this age, so I don't know. I think it's definitely worse than other cores, and I don't think the science is scaled that well, and first aid kind of blew. But, here I am, end of age, number 1 honor, so how bad could they really be, question mark? They also lost that honor retention they had, so without that, I probably can't do what I did again. Didn't love human. Almost every attacking race is just really strong out of the gate right now. Those avian, O-specs, and birth rate are hugely strong with the attack speed. Orc credits are crazy strong. Undead with converts are crazy strong. And then you have human, and they just suck. I mean, they have the O-spec, they've got the converts to elites, but it really doesn't compare. And then you add in wages, WPA. It's bad news for human. Don't like it at all. So, is what it is. You got a slight nerf to human, a race that was already extremely underwhelming and underpicked, which I find a little weird, but whatever. I think the only problem with human this age was Sage, and so I think you could have dealt with Sage that way. But honestly, I just think having 15% science efficiency in the game is just too much. And not that it's necessarily too strong, but just the way science curves work right now, it's too easy to max out certain sciences, and I just think you're flirting with weird things when you can get assorted things maxed out that you probably shouldn't be able to. Orcs are interesting. Their unique got changed, and their old unique was incredibly strong. So this is definitely a nerf, but having bonus skills on top of top offense and bloodlust is very strong. Ignoring castles, almost worthless in war, because I've seen almost 0 castles in like 100 ages. And even when people have castles, it's usually not a big deal for orcs. But this ability is so good for a growth kingdom. When you're using meter and you're hitting out of war against micros and stuff, being able to ignore castles is bullshit strong. Also, training elites that are this big with credits, bullshit strong. Bonus credits, bullshit strong. Now in war, sure, maybe you can't use all those credits. You have so much offense and you're gaining so many credits, you can't actually use all the credits in war. But those credits carry over to your end of war ceasefire, so you have max elites for free, so you can have max guilds or max universities, max homes. You don't need banks as an orc because you have everything you want. When you're hitting out of war and you have peasants and you're growing, you have so many free elites. It's like tailor designed to let a growth kingdom win. And like, oh, their only nerf other than their unique ability changing is they lost a D-spec point. So you're going to get quadded. Guess what? You have so much offense, you're quadding people already with kills, stacking, and offense. So it's like you're trading the ability to be quadded for the ability to quad, while you also have bonus gains and more offense and more kills. Like, it doesn't math out. Now, yeah, they're going to be squishy. They're going to get utterly chained or massed or raised in war for peanuts. But, like, it really doesn't matter if they're just overwhelming you because they have so much offense and kills and credits and elites. And I don't know. I think the whole theory of orc here needs to be redone. I think you just need to get rid of elite credits, period. I don't think elite credits should exist with such a big elite in the game. So, whatever. That, or you gotta go way glass cannier. You gotta do something. Make them take 20% extra harder hits or something. Undead, I believe, are mostly changed. Why is this till end of tick and not 2 ticks now? Right? Also, it's all attacks right now. It used to be 1, like, just your next attack, right? So that's a huge buff. I don't know, maybe it was that way last stage and I didn't realize. I think they're 40% losses last time, 45% slight buff. Ghost Workers, Heroes, Inspiration are both really good spells. Taking bonus damage kind of sucks. I think Undead's actually really strong. I think Undead is probably even the strongest attacking race. I think it might have even been last stage. It's just that people were scared. Maybe they were a little worse last stage. But yeah, I'd just say Undead's really, really strong. There's no way about it. And the added benefit of soul bouncing is there too. When I ward kingdoms that had just a couple undead, we were able to target them and crush them with Night Strike really easily. But I think if you just ran like a full undead core, you would crush people. And I think Hidden probably crushed everyone this age they touched. I don't think they ward anyone good other than 5-2 this age, so Hidden continues their streak of not actually warring anyone interesting, so it's hard to say if they're any good or not, but from the outside they looked incredibly strong. And I just hated dealing with minus 45% military losses. It's very strong. Dryad, we're back to trying to make Dryad work. Draft speed's interesting. Kills are good. A 22 elite is good, but without a way of getting free elites, this is a bit of a problem. They have the same penalty as Orc for some reason, 25. Yeah, like this is just almost worse in every way than orc, so why is it here? Like, why do we have this and orc? Why don't you just get a unique concept for once? Like, the... yeah, we're just swinging and missing with Dryad repeatedly. Now, I think if you kept Dryad sort of like this and you just changed Orc's core mechanic / offense / you know, we have a big elite and a bad D-spec, but it's literally like Orc has Bloodlust to give it a 20 elite and 15% kills, and Orc has cheaper draft, which turns into draft speed, and Orc has a small D-spec, and it's like, well, these are just the same provinces, but one of them's obviously better, so I don't understand it. So change one or something. You know, variety's nice. Everyone likes variety. Personalities. Artisan looks unchanged. I'm also running Artisans this age. Artisan was pretty strong. I didn't feel these building production capacity bonuses very much in the early mid-game. I'm feeling them a lot more in the late game. Probably because I'm running humans and everything scaled with the late game. But I think Artisan was quite strong. The attack speed, economic bonuses all sort of work out. It's sort of just like a tactician that's a little better. And the raise actually also scales decently. It's not the best, but it exists. But this looks unchanged. I'd say it was pretty strong. Still pretty strong. Cleric looks unchanged. You get the extra defense. You get... Is this supposed to be -1 self-spell mana cost, or is this just 1? If it's 1, that's very weird. That means that would be broken, just because of Paradise and Tree of Gold, if nothing else. But just in those cases, I think. But everything looks unchanged here. Cleric, plenty strong, but it does struggle in certain metas where there's too much offense or there's too much attack speed plus offense sort of thing. I think Cleric's probably the best, like, bait type pick. Like, it's really good for getting wars because people aren't scared of you, but it's still pretty strong. Otherwise, whatever. Heretics look unchanged. Heretics are still good. Actually, if they have 15% arcane arts efficiency, that's really, 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 really strong. I don't think they had that last stage. Maybe it was 10%. Heretic's super strong. I intentionally don't pick it because I feel like that'll give me more wars because people are scared of nightmares and Fool Gold, but it's just me being dumb. I think you should consider having heretics in your kingdom as required as Mystic. Just the threat of nightmares is really strong, and stacking damages is really strong. And just the fact that it's so easy to get +1 stealth or mana is really handy because every race has it. Yeah, Heretic looks plenty strong. I think with the arcane arts there, it's going to scale pretty well, so it's happy. Mystic looks unchanged. I still hate that Mystic has Mind Focus and this many guilds, but whatever. Mystics are Mystics are Mystics. They're really good. They get an extra 0.6 mana a tick for some reason. Rogues, slight nerf to Rogue on Thieves' Den. Otherwise unchanged. Rogues are fine. Rogues are a lot worse in ages where you can reliably break TMs with offense. I think Rogues perform a lot better in ages where you're taking out TMs with your rogues, but I just honestly don't see it happen that often. 90% of my rogue stealth ends up night striking the same targets the fucking core night strikes, so rogues kind of suck. I don't even use Greater Arson anymore because raises are too easy. Targeting TMs is so rarely working. The exception being halfling rogues can get really strong. You use everything all at once, and there's nothing that can stop them. Sure, but I just sort of hate rogue right now. I've always hated rogue. Rogues are the thing that, like, you know, really screw you over, but never seem to work out for you. I don't understand it, but yeah, that's how I feel about rogue. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but I don't know if they do anything someone else can't do better or differently. Tactician looks unchanged. Immunity to greater arson isn't that big a deal. I think Tactician's just worse than Artisan right now. It doesn't really have anything unique going on. They both share the attack speed, and the thieves on intel basically, but Artisan science is just better. So, like, whatever. Tactician needs a little loving somehow. I don't know how, but somehow. Warrior, classic, perfect. Nothing new or weird about it. I don't know why this has a cooldown, so that's probably a typo. Warrior's incredibly strong. You should probably pick Warriors for all of your core, unless you have a reason to do otherwise, but that should be your default attacker personality. Sage, I think Sage has a slight nerf here. Sage was pretty strong. We don't really see that many top kingdom sages performing. I know 5-5 has a few, and they're okay. I know 6-12 ran them, but 6-12's results are kind of meh. I still think Sage is just too annoying with the learn protection. It's just sort of a menace, because it's just like a big fuck you, you can't hurt us, but we can learn you thing. I don't love. It's just bad mechanically, but whatever. Sage, I wouldn't mind this learn protection getting a rework. I don't think it's too strong, but again, I don't love stacking science efficiencies, because you're getting too many maxed out sciences. Freaky deaky doo. Weird. Things are either extra strong or extra weak. They get all the weird spells. They get a bunch of OME, so they're basically a warrior with some differences. In War, you can reroll every 12 ticks, or it automatically rerolls every 12 ticks. I think this is kind of cool. I don't think it's overpowered, but it might be probably a bit too strong. But not strong enough that anyone gives a shit. So I say keep Freak essentially as is. It seems fine to me. Necromancer, WPA, cool. Losses and kills converting into soldiers is nice. Immunity to plague's nice. Access to these spells nice. I think Necromancer needs... Well, let's read the 15%. Soldier pool. Why is there this and this? The unique is also one of their bonuses. I'm confused. I think Necromancer needs a little more leaven. I'm not sure what. Maybe a science, maybe like a resilient science buff would be fine, or something. But maybe a soldier buff and aggression would be funny. Give them +1/+1 to their soldiers so they have 1 defense. I don't know. Necromancer, I don't hate the idea of it, but I think this is just weak right now. Whatever. General, this is the last personality. +1 general, 25% extra credits, faster training time, train elites with credits, access to bloodlust. Unique is every successful attack gives you +2% OME for 6 hours. And the stacks decay 1% a tick. This is stupid. Okay, if you're quadding someone, you effectively gain like 3% OME over the 4 hits. Like, that's just retarded. Sorry. Overall, though, General seems pretty strong. You got 10% OME, free credits, and an extra General, and elite training credits. That's a complete and quite strong package. Probably strong enough to warrant picks over even Warrior, I would say. So that's pretty strong as is. Maybe a little toning there. Yeah, sounds good. Races I find a little boring. They weren't changed much. Maybe that's a good thing. You don't need to change the races all the time too much. Things were pretty balanced this age, so I think just finding a happy middle for everything's good. Racial, I think there's a couple weak things still in there, but decent balance. I like the 3 new personalities here. Maybe a little tweaking, but overall I think it feels balanced enough. Not overly exciting, but I think it all works out. This might not be the best rant to listen to. I didn't actually read a lot of the abilities in full. I just sort of read them and then spoke about them, so I'll try to do that better next time for those listeners out there. But this was Smiles. Thanks for listening to my rant, and I'll see y'all at Revised. Peace.